Girl, oh no, baby, all mine. Oh no, baby. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? I hope y'all been great. It's been amazing, to say the least, on my end. So thank you for being concerned if you are. And I'm hoping the same for you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Present Not Perfect. I'm your host, Mimi Janice, once again. And today's topic is about everyone. Let me actually get into it, right? Let's get into it. Whenever we move through life, we tend to attract people that either test, challenge, or combat our perspectives. And that's for good reason, just to make sure that we really believe what we believe, right? And then there's other times where we're gonna find people that just completely understand where we're coming from and understand what we mean by what we say. And we kind of take their lesson that they give us a little bit easier than others. But in the grander scheme of things, everybody's pretty much doing the same thing, for real. Everybody's kind of thinking the same thing. Everybody is just expressing it in their own way. And I kind of got this topic the other day when I was hanging out with my friends, and it just dawned on me that we literally were saying the same things, but the way we express ourselves and the way we want to communicate what we know, it was just completely different. But as we're listening, it was just like, bro, we're saying the same thing. And it was like, I was like, this is like a mycelium network type of thing where we're literally we have our synapses doing the same thing, and then as our tribe amongst ourselves, our synapses are even going off within each other to be able to come to these conclusions that are very similar to what we already think. And it was just like, damn, that's really cool. Like, we are saying the same things, it's just the way we express ourselves that is different. And that's a beautiful thing, because why would I want somebody to express what they know, what we know, the same way I explain it? I don't want that. That's very boring, in my opinion. So it's really beautiful to be able to have somebody that is going to understand you and understand where you're coming from, but also be able to explain it in their own way to give you like a better insight for what you already believed in. And it's pretty cool, in my opinion. But then it goes to show that this is happening everywhere. This is happening with all of us. So in each faction that we choose to be in, whether it's a religious factor, you're doing that there too, like where pretty much everybody's saying the same thing, that in order for you to live a fulfilled life, God needs to be implemented into it. And how you get there, that's where the differences come into play. And as far as atheism, I don't really know about atheism all that well to be able to even speak on it. But as far as like the people that want to believe in something and want to believe in a higher source, this is where the divide comes in, where it's like, okay, how do you choose to get to that place? But everybody really is talking about the same thing. It's just the way that they express it is a completely different way. And I don't want to just harp on religion, but this is the tangent that we're going to go into right now, where literally being able to take someone else's perspective, although it may not be completely your own perspective, like how you think, but to be able to take their perspective and to be able to see that, okay, they are possibly going in the direction that I think I want to also go. So if I want them around me, let me go ahead and just trust that they're doing it. And then, from there, make your decision whether you want to keep them in your life or whether you want to stay in that institution, or, whether you want to continue following or whatever it is. But as far as it being something where we want people to think exactly like us, that's a downfall, because we're not meant to be the same. We're not meant to be the same completely. And to be able to have grace for somebody, or to be able to give somebody space to be able to experience their own journey to get to where they need to be for whatever the good of kind is, then let them be that. And for the fact that we literally are regurgitating the same information to each other, and different in the way that we express it, it really makes me wonder why there's so much confusion with why we argue with each other to defend our own perspectives and our own beliefs. The other day I was hanging out. The interactions that I had, it was almost like, okay, if I were to say what was actually like going on within me, not necessarily that I wasn't open, but to just say everything that I've learned within my journey to the person that I was having a conversation with, it was going to probably cause more confusion or just combativeness for what I probably would have brought to the face, to the forefront. And it was like, me being me, I listened to the person to understand what their perspective was, and just to hear them out and just be like, okay, I hear where you're coming from. And because I heard a lot of things where it was like, okay, you are moving in the trajectory that brings you to the most freedom. You're moving in that direction. Now, should I grab your hand and just bring you where I'm at? I don't know if that's your journey. I can just appreciate the fact that you are able to open up to me and allow your, innermost thoughts fly with me, to be able to tell me what your beliefs are and to be able to go and just explain whatever it is you've gone through in your journey to bring you to this point. I can really appreciate that. Is that the finite truth just because you got there in your journey? No. Just the same way my finite truth for myself is not the finite truth for everybody else. But as long as we're moving toward that direction, that one truth, it's okay. It's straight. But literally everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody is doing the same exact thing. And it's really interesting to actually be aware of this and to take that in, because once I was like, okay, that person's in the trajectory that will bring them the most freedom mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, they're on that trajectory, let them be in that journey. Whatever space and time that they're in right now, that's the time that they're meant to be in, and I'm okay with that. I don't have to put my beliefs and where I've come onto them. The only people I can do that to is my kids. Like, the moment that comes into fruition, those are the things that I will be able to instill in my children and be able to just explain to them everything I've learned, so then that they can take that information and do what they want to do with it. But I can't force my beliefs on them either. It's just, now that I've learned all of this is what my perspective is. Let me go ahead and share it with you so then you can make your own assessments. And that should be the way it is. As far as, to go back to the religion conversation, with a lot of people giving their differences in detail as for why they believe whatever religion they believe in, the moment that you pass all of the division, everybody is doing the same thing to get to that same point. The only thing we need to work on is that division part. Why do we feel we need to defend our part the hardest? Because we feel like we're right about whatever religion it is. There was a conversation that I had the other day, actually, where it was quoted that if you don't believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and you don't put him as God in a sense, then you're condemned. And for me, that was kind of conflicting, because I was like, Jesus for me, definitely real. Like, there's some people that don't believe Jesus was real at all. But I believe Jesus is real. I believe he did what he did. I believe that the messages that he came to drop, he definitely dropped them. But then for someone to come through and state that if I don't believe Jesus is the end all be all, then I'm condemned. And that's where I kind of found the disconnect, because for my truth, and I'm not going to tell anybody to believe what I believe. This is just my truth. This is what my journey has brought me to understand. In my truth, Jesus came and he said what he needed to say, trying to bring people to source, trying to bring people to the understanding that this is and this will always be. Some scripture in the Bible, when they just misinterpret it, in my opinion. Well, I'm not sure which verse, but I just know that it says that Jesus said that he was there from the beginning, he will always be, along the lines of that. Like, he was there in the beginning. That's the thing that, and my interpretation of that is that energy never dies, and it was always, right? So the fact that Jesus would be able to say that I was here in the beginning is the truth. The same way I was here in the beginning, because energy never died. Energy just transmutes into something else. It alchemizes into something else. It becomes something else. And to come to a point where it's like, okay, if I can come to this and understand myself in a space where other people are kind of opposed from my beliefs, that doesn't take away from the fact that I know where I'm going. That doesn't take away from the fact that we are saying the same thing and that they're wrong or I'm wrong. It's literally, we just have different understandings of the same thing. And that's because we're different people. For people to go ahead and I'm using religion because there's a lot of outcasting that happens with that. And I kind of feel a type of way when having these conversations, just because it is the people that hold that demonize, or they cast down all judgments on a person that isn't believing the same thing they believe in the same way. I believe Jesus came and he did what he needed to do. Once he dropped the messages, whatever the person took as far as what he said, that was their interpretation. So you have the Pauls out there and you have the Peters out there. People are taking it in different contexts. We're all still trying to get to the same place Jesus was talking about, but now we have different ways of looking at it. And you're going to have the Pauls that judge the Peter, and then you have the Peters that judge the Paul. And it's just going to be a whole bunch of conflict all the time, because we believe with the finite brains of ours that it should be one way. But what in life is actually one way? Like, there's nothing in life that is, you can only get there one way. So for a lot of religious people to go ahead and make it like you are not going to make it, you're already condemned. Like, that causes so much contradiction in society. Like, everything is just backwards after that, because you are telling the person that if you don't do this, you are not able. And if we really take it upon ourselves to really dig deep and see the actualities of it all, none of that was supposed to be broken apart. It was supposed to be the entire thing. So everyone saying the same thing. Why can't we come to a conclusion that we all are right? We just see getting there as a different direction. Like, we see getting to the point that we want to get to differently, but that's no issue. If we can just come back to ourselves and not necessarily be the one to throw the finger, but to take that person or the situation or the institution for what it's trying to give you to learn more, then let's do that. For me, what my response was, the condemnation that occurs is when the person stops choosing to learn. That's when the condemnation comes in, because you choose to no longer learn about the truth. You say within yourself, I know what's going on. I know the truth. Even if there's possibly more out there to know about the truth, you just stop right there. That's where I feel like the condemnation comes in, because you just cut yourself off. And who's to say that you know exactly who God is? If you knew who God was wholeheartedly in its whole, you think you would be here right now, like, just chilling? So the people that knew God in the Bible, or the people that knew God in your book, that actually was down with, and they got first class tickets to where they needed to go, why are you still here? It literally is us trying to figure out what the truth is. And the moment you stop trying to figure out what the truth is, that's when you're condemned, because your mind is no longer able to process anything that is going to come in. The more I go through these interactions with people and I start having these conversations, and it's like I'm learning more about their perspective, and it's opening my eyes up to bigger possibilities about what I already feel like I know. I'm more in a positive reality than a lot of people that choose the institutions to believe in, like, in my opinion, right? But there's a lot of turmoil that goes on within a lot of religious people that they choose to ignore just because they feel like the institution that they're in keeps them grounded. And that's fine, as long as you make it to source, baby. I can't really judge you for anything. If you feel like you are making it, then you gonna make it. Hopefully. Like, hopefully, because we don't know anything that happens, right? We can just theorize until we are out of breath. So with it being a point where we all are saying the same thing, can we get to a point where we don't have to be right about everything? Can we get to a point where it's like we can take the other person's perspective, even if they don't believe in exactly what we believe in, but as long as they have those fundamentals that I want to meet source God. I not even meet, because we already know God, but to be able to be full again, to be able to truly understand where we came from, who we are as whole one. If we all are able to come to that point, I think a lot would be so petty to even talk about, fight about. It would feel like beneath us. Really though. Like, why are we talking about when it doesn't even need that? We as spirits don't even, like, it doesn't correlate. This is only because we're on a physical plane. Why are we making this a requirement to go anywhere, to elevate into truth? That doesn't make sense to me. Like, this is such a big problem for a lot of people, and it doesn't even have to be like that. When can we get to the point where it's you saying some good shit, and I appreciate your mind, because it's enlightening me. So let me go ahead and, like, I'm gonna think about what you said. Like, I don't fully agree with everything, but I'm gonna sit on what you said for real, because you have a lot of truth, even though I don't completely agree with everything you said, but you said a lot of good shit. So I'm gonna take that in, because, and I see your mind, and I appreciate it. You're wrong. Oh my gosh, why would you know? If you don't do this, then no. Where is this fear coming from? Where is this fear coming from? Maybe the fear is coming from that you want to make sure this person make it to where you want to make it, right? You want to make it to a good place, a place where you don't have to feel any type of anymore, any sorrow, any pain, and you want to see them there too, and that's beautiful. But what are you doing now? You're not making it any better. Telling them that they're forever damned. The people that are damned are the people that are actually not trying. The people that are damned are the people that just don't give a fuck. And what are you gonna say to that? Like, just let them be them, you know? But nobody is truly damned until you stop trying. So why would you walk up to somebody or run up to somebody and tell them that they should do it the way you do it because of whatever the reason? It's the same way you could walk up to somebody and tell them, hey, I'm going to be an acrobat, and that person has never liked heights before in their life, and they're going to tell you, no, you're wrong. Don't do it like that. You shouldn't. Why? Like, that makes no sense to me. However, you know, we live and we learn, and nobody ever has to completely agree with anything that I say. You have your own mind, you have your own journey to go through. This is mine. And so far as for what I've come into play with, I've gained a lot of promise with the way that I've been able to think about life, and the way I've been able to come into more truth and understanding about what God has me here for. So nobody has to like it, only I have to like it, because it's my journey. And I feel like that's the way everybody should think. Nobody as a parent should try to influence. Well, you can try to influence, but force somebody to believe everything that you believe. We don't know, okay? Nobody knows. We are all making assumption here. Who knows? Right? So the more assumptions we make, the more we come to it's like a culmination of brains coming to the one conclusion, because if we're all of the same network, a lot of us putting our brains together to figure out the truth, we're gonna come upon something great. And the thing is, I feel like a lot of people, once they get to a great point, that's where they stop. There's nothing after that. No, we got to a point. No, it works for us here. I'm like, why are you scared? You made it to this point, right? You were scared coming up to this point. Jump over it. There's more. There's more. There's so much more. There's so much more. And we shouldn't close it off like that. We shouldn't. But there's opportunity now for us to be able to make these changes. And I'm not one to state that I'm doing this the way that I want to do it. Like, I have my moments too where I'm like, damn, like, why wouldn't you think of it the way I'm thinking of it? Like, there's more opportunity, like in this video right now. But if you want to, you know, if the way you're working through it is working for you, work that. Work it. Please. Make it to better understanding, make it to truth. That's it. That's all I implore. That's it. So yeah, let's keep thinking alike, and let's keep expressing that differently, and let's just be open to each other's differences. And who knows where the possibilities could end up for us knowing more about shit that we need to know, you know? Oh man, I hope I made the intro, because right now I'm thinking about it and I don't know if I did the intro. But I hope this conversation did you guys well. I hope there's, something that you pulled from it. If anything, go ahead and leave your comments down below. I would love to hear you guys. And it really means a lot just to be able to interact with you guys. So I live for this, this is amazing when I'm able to just have conversations with people and just be able to tap into their mind a little bit and have them tap into mine and just expand. So yeah, whenever you guys come across this video, go ahead and subscribe if you feel inclined. Share with the people that you feel may gain something from this, or you just want to share it, just to have people feel like you're thinking about them in some type of way. And yeah, this has been another episode of Present Not Perfect. I am your host, Mimi Janit, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your whatever it is. Love you guys. Bye.